for this neighborhood restaurant in Atlanta, prepping for the lunch rush started early this morning.
I'm just going to go around and kind of sanitize.
Stephen Leslie is the owner of Roasters. Today, he's getting ready to welcome back dine-in customers for the first time in 6 weeks. But not without new precautions.
We're putting our host out front to kind of keep the people distancing. We're going to have gloves, plastic silverware at all the side stations.
Staging tables 6 feet apart, taping off booths to reduce indoor seating by 75%, and sanitizing everything from top to bottom to ensure his patrons and staff feel safe.
I'm kind of excited because these are my family. I get emotional. But, you know, these guys need work. They need to make money. So.
It's a difficult decision business owners like Stephen are grappling with. To reopen or not, as Georgia leads the charge back to work.
This is a dress rehearsal for the entire country.
By taking this measured action, we will get Georgians back to work safely without undermining the progress that we all have made.
The controversial move made by Governor Brian Kemp, sparking criticism, with some questioning whether it's too much too soon.
But I wasn't happy with Brian Kemp. I will tell you that right now.
As the state continues to weigh the economic damage of stay-at-home orders against public health concerns, the nation now looking to see whether Georgia serves as a roadmap or a cautionary tale, as roughly 26 million people have filed for unemployment. At least a dozen states easing restrictions.
I think we found the sweet spot, but it's a risk.
A risk some governors just won't take.
We know that no one wants a second wave.
We all have to be smart about it.
With the U.S. death toll from COVID now surpassing 56,000, some are wondering at what cost.
If we don't work, we'll be homeless or hungry, so we got to take this risk.
For Regina Herschel, reopening day at her Atlanta hair salon was one of excitement and uncertainty.
The first day that I opened, I was very nervous, but my customers made me feel safe, and I made them feel safe as well, so it got easier as the day went on.
The decision, she says, less a choice than it was a necessity.
I went through pretty much of my savings account. I was devastated because I'm like, now everything had to shift for me.
Are you worried at all about getting backlash from people?
I'm not worried. I had some people contact me on social media, and, you know, they were very negative. So what I did, I just blocked it out because I can't walk by sight. I have to have faith as I walk. So I just blocked them out so that I didn't have to put that energy inside of me.
In her salon, it's not quite business as usual. Appointments now come with rubber gloves, face shields, and temperature checks. Regina implementing a hard one-in, one-out policy, and she's making sure high-risk clients stay home.
I don't want nobody to get sick just to get their hair done.
And so you're actually telling people with weakened immune systems to stay away?
I'm telling them to stay away for their own sake, because it may not even be in the salon. They might contract it coming to the salon. So I don't want them to take that risk to venture out to see, to get their hair done.
Beauty shops, bowling alleys, even gyms have now been given the green light. The governor pointing to a decreasing number of cases, declining ER visits, and enhanced testing as his rationale for easing restrictions, although at least one model projecting the state hasn't yet hit its peak. Just a few hours south in Albany, Georgia, trepidation in a town deeply affected by COVID. Andrea Owens-White is choosing to keep her doors closed. A florist for 33 years, it's a job that has rooted her in the community. Weddings, babies, funerals. She's been there for all of it.
I had proms that were canceled, Easter setups that were canceled. It has just dampened our whole community.
And for Andrea, COVID hit home.
My husband contracted the virus. He spread it to myself and my 92-year-old mother. She was in ICU for about 5 days.
Andrea and her family have now recovered, but she says without a cure or wider testing, her shop will remain shuttered.
I have applied for unemployment with no response. I have applied for the PPP loan still with no response. I am very concerned if this goes on. There's a possibility that I could not only lose my business, I could lose my home, everything. I am remaining closed for the protection of myself, my family, and those I care about.
With shops like Andrea's closed, the state is feeling the painful ripple effects of the stay-at-home order. Over the last month, 1.1 million Georgians have filed for unemployment. Public policy analyst George Cheedy says this will actually hurt hardworking Americans.
I think you need to consider who's actually going to be working these jobs. We're not talking about six-figure salary jobs. We're talking about the working class of Georgia. The idea that we can put them at risk because we fear what's going to happen to government revenue is a disgrace. Those lives matter.
He says the rush to reopen is far more than just a public health hazard.
I think Governor Kemp has made a mistake. I don't think we should be reopening the economy yet. I think it's going to cost more lives than it saves.
And it seems a majority of Americans agree it's too soon. An ABC News Ipsos poll says that 72% of Americans believe that moving too quickly to loosen stay-at-home orders is a greater threat to the country than moving too slowly. And 80% say they're unlikely to head out to public spaces that draw crowds.
Even though the businesses are open right now, me and my family, we're still practicing self-isolation.
Terica Parks is among the COVID survivors, urging others to stay away. A month ago, she was in agony, fighting for her life against COVID-19.
Whoever thought that talking, something as simple as talking, would be this difficult?
Because it felt like I was using all the energy I had just to stay alive. I felt my body just shutting down.
You literally thought you were going to die.
Yes, ma'am. I started looking through all the old pictures of me and my kids and my husband. I was crying.
After weeks of recovering, she's now finding her footing in a new normal, working from home, making jewelry to help support her family until they can return to their day-to-day.
I have all of my natural bracelets here, my stones, and I do all of this by hand, you guys.
And though she empathizes with those who say they need to get back to work, for her and her family, it's just too soon.
So many people right here in the small city of Albany, Georgia, have lost their lives to this virus. And I know that it's not over yet. It's still out and about. You don't know who could have the virus. Even I had some friends say that they're excited to be able to go and get their nails done. It's impossible to practice social distancing in a nail shop. You're right there in front of the person's face getting your nails done. It was a very devastating news to me. I really don't think we were ready to open back up the state of Georgia.
Back in Atlanta, Stephen says he has a healthy respect for the virus. He knows COVID is still front of mind for so many.
My daughter is a nurse at Northside, works the COVID floor, so she tells me all the things that are going on.
We'll go right this way so that way we don't have to step inside.
But today, he's focused on the survival of small businesses like his. The only way to serve his customers successfully is to do it safely.
I look at it from both sides, and if they don't want to come out, then don't come out. I'm supporting my business, my livelihood, my staff. I feel like we just have to move on and get rolling.
It's clearly a complex issue, reopening the country without endangering lives, a scenario other states are now facing. And to break it all down, I spoke earlier with ABC News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Jen Ashton. Tonight we're examining Georgia, where there's this divide between the governor and the mayor of Atlanta. Even President Trump says Governor Kemp is jumping the gun. What does it mean, Jen, to follow the science when it comes to opening back up?
Well, first, Juju, I think it's important to remember that we've never been here before. So there's no manual, there's no guidebook or playbook here. And I do think it's important to give everyone the benefit of the doubt that they're trying to do the right thing. How we go about that is the million-dollar question. I think when you talk about following the science, according to the guidelines, what needs to be shown or seen is a sustained downward trajectory over a 14-day period of cases.
What are the health risks of opening too much too soon, and how might we see those effects unfold?
Well, I think, first of all, the bottom line is we have to remember lives are at stake. you always have to weigh the risks of opening, the risks of not opening, the benefits of opening, and the benefits of not opening. And again, it's not a matter of when this occurs, but how it occurs, because it's obvious to everyone, regardless of what side they're falling out on, that we can't stay closed down until a vaccine is available. That may be another year or more away.
And so what are the safe ways to reopen, if there is such a phrase?
I think the general consensus is you do it slowly, you do it cautiously, and you have to have provisions in place so that if or when you start to see cases go up, you are prepared immediately to pivot on a dime and backtrack to some degree of more aggressive social distancing or, closing down for a period of time, whatever that looks like for the population that we're talking about. We have to have those plans in place so that we can accelerate and we can hit the brake and anything in between.
Slowly and cautiously, those are the watchwords. Thanks, Dr. Jen.
You bet, Joe.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.